Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am here to talk about Darren Till versus DDP, Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis is 17-2. They're both similar in build, 6 foot tall for each man, and they're both in their late 20s. One's 28, one's 29. I don't fucking know who's who. Anyway, DDP is 17-2 overall. He's got 7 KOs and TKOs on the ground, 9 submissions, and 1 decision. His 2 losses are 1 via KO, 1 via submission. He's a minus 180 here fighting Darren Till, who's got a record of 18-4-1. We've seen all of his ugly moments inside the UFC, all 4 of his losses and his draw, so we know how he can be beaten. Not that we don't know that about DDP, but we know that about Till. And Till, he's an excellent striker. I do think it's at the point where he's maybe even underrated, having been knocked out by Masvidal. Till, I like him as a volume striker. I like him as a point fighter. But also, I think his straight left is one of the better weapons at middleweight altogether, and certainly was at welterweight. He's got a damn good straight left, and that's the kind of punch that could make DDP pay. Because du Plessis, he's a guy that charges. He charges forward. He fights like I would fight if I was on ice skates or sneakers. Doesn't really matter. But he has no technique. He's got technique, obviously, but mainly he's all about the power. He's all about the power and the pressure. And his technique is lacking. I do think there is going to be a good striker, a disciplined striker who makes him pay. Roberto Soldic already knocked him out outside the UFC in a rematch because du Plessis knocked him out, which is still one of his best wins to date. I think it is his best win. Maybe the Tavares win inside the UFC is. I don't know. But Darren Till, he's a comfortable striker. He's a good counter striker. He's good at managing his range, and he's good at springing in with some hard, straight punches. I think he's the guy that could take out DDP, but I'm not picking it. I've seen Till broken too many times. And on the feet, even though I think he's a little underrated, both as a striker overall and with his power, I'm just coming down the other side of this, where I like what du Plessis brings to the table, striking and on the ground. I think if he was able to get Darren on the ground, he wins the grappling battle. He's got to win the wrestling battle to win the grappling battle, but I do think he wins the grappling battle and makes Till pay. And if he was able to get Till down, consistently, I think he would get a finish before long. On the feet, though, it's a much closer fight, but still, I like du Plessis' pressure. I like his pressure and his striking. It is basic charging forward, and it could be laughed at and mocked and whatever, but it's clearly effective. I mean, he's 7-1 as in terms of knockouts, and one of those again was over Soldic, the other one over Trevin Giles. His hands have come together for him. He does have good power, and it may not look like he has good power because he doesn't have that conventional, right hand like Dan Henderson, like a big overhand bomb, but he charges forward and he hits you from weird angles, in the middle of his combinations. He throws good combinations too, mixes in kicks in the middle of his combinations, knees as well, which, if he's crashing into Darren Till, he could make Darren Till pay there. They're similar in height. I wouldn't say the knees favor one or the other, just who's going to throw them. So DDP, I trust him to win this fight. I think if his chin doesn't fail him, he's going to bring too much pressure for Darren Till, where over the course of 15 minutes, if he doesn't get hurt a few times to lose the rounds, I see DDP winning the point battle. And as for the knockout or the finish overall, even though I don't trust his defensive striking, I trust du Plessis' offensive striking, and I really trust his groundwork. On the flip side of that, Darren Till, I don't trust him at all on the ground. I think he's susceptible to being overwhelmed and broken, as we've seen against Derek Brunson and Tyron Woodley, really. As soon as he ate that big punch, that was the beginning of the end for him. As for Darren Till's chin, he was knocked out cold by Masvidal. He hasn't looked compromised since or before then, even. So I can't say he's got a shit chin. But again, we've seen each of these guys knocked out once. And there's no reason to favor one chin over the other here. So all things considered, I like du Plessis to win the fight. I think, again, he's got a better shot of winning a decision and a better shot of getting the finish. So minus 180 is the odds, are the odds for du Plessis. I am not in love with that, but I like it enough to have bet on it and put it in a few parlays. There are probably some prop bets that could be played here, but I don't trust. There are too many unknowns here. I don't trust any of the prop bets really. So Du Plessis minus 180. I think he gets the victory over Darren Till, and I hope he does because he's a really exciting, sloppy mess of a fighter. All right, like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.